All right, for decades, there's been this one patch of the Atlantic Ocean that has totally captured our imagination, right? It's filled with these wild tales of bizarre phenomena and just unexplained disappearances. We all know it as the Bermuda Triangle. So what's really going on in there?
I mean, the legend is built on some pretty staggering numbers. Over the last couple of centuries, we're talking more than 70 ships and planes, carrying hundreds and hundreds of people that have just vanished in this area. It's no wonder people call it an aquatic graveyard.
And listen to this chilling account. It's describing the loss of a huge U.S. Navy ship, the USS Cyclops, way back in 1918. It just perfectly captures that supernatural dread of the whole Bermuda Triangle legend. It wasn't just that the ship was gone, it felt like it was taken.
And you can really see how the mystery just builds and builds over time. I mean, it starts way back in 1492 with Christopher Columbus himself reporting bizarre compass readings. Then you get stories of ghost ships, that massive USS Cyclops vanishing without a single trace. And of course the infamous Flight 19, where a whole squadron of planes just disappeared. Every single event added another layer to the legend.
So, these stories started to feel less like just random isolated incidents and more like a pattern. People were starting to connect the dots, and they wanted an explanation. What was happening in this weird patch of ocean?
And, well, when people want answers, storytellers are more than happy to provide them. This is when the theories just got wild. We're talking alien abductions, energy crystals left over from the lost city of Atlantis, even rips in the very fabric of space-time. The stories just got more and more sensational.
And this brings us to a really crucial point. Just because a story is thrilling, and it seems to connect all the dots in this really satisfying way, does that actually make it true? Is a great story the same thing as hard evidence?
To really get how powerful these stories were, just look at this number. Over 14 times million copies. That's how many were sold of the one book that really truly cemented the Bermuda Triangle myth and pop culture. It was a global phenomenon, which just goes to show how much we all love a good mystery.
But okay, here's the twist. That same best-selling book, the one that captivated millions of people, it was later found to be just filled with factual mistakes, big exaggerations, and some things that were just made up. The very foundation of the modern myth was, well, built on pretty shaky ground.
And this quote really gets to the heart of why those stories work so well, even if they weren't totally accurate. We're just hardwired for it. Our brains absolutely love to find patterns and create stories, and we get so drawn into a compelling mystery that sometimes, we overlook the actual facts.
Okay, so if it's not aliens or crystals from Atlantis, surely there must be some kind of rational, scientific reason for all these disappearances, right? Maybe the stories are just a stand-in for a real, explainable phenomenon. And scientists did propose some very plausible-sounding theories. You've got geomagnetic disturbances that could explain Columbus's compass going haywire. Then there are these sudden massive blowouts of methane gas from the seafloor that could, in theory, sink a ship in seconds. And hey, in a story area, giant 100-foot rogue waves could easily destroy a vessel. On the surface, these all sound pretty credible.
But hang on a minute. We have to stop and ask ourselves that same critical question again. Are we just falling for another good story? I mean, this time instead of aliens, it's dressed up in scientific language like geomagnetism and methane hydrates. But is it actually backed by any data?
Here's the bottom line. Using sciencey words isn't the same as presenting evidence. It's still just speculation. To get to the real truth, we have to move beyond all the stories, no matter how convincing they might sound, and look at the objective, aggregated data. So, it's time to look at the numbers.
And as soon as you do that, the myth just starts to completely unravel. When analysts actually rank the world's most dangerous shipping lanes based on real incidents, the Bermuda Triangle doesn't even make the top 10. Places like the South China Sea and the Mediterranean Sea are statistically way more hazardous.
But this right here is the real eye-opener. According to data from the shipping publication Lloyd's List, the global average for marine casualties is about 1.8%, and in the Bermuda Triangle, that number is just 0.02%. That's not just a little lower, it is 90 times lower than the global average.
And it's really important to know where this data comes from. This isn't from some random blog post, it's from Lloyd's List, which is one of the most respected and authoritative sources in the entire maritime industry. This is robust, credible data aggregated over a long period of time.
So when you put the story right next to the truth, you see two completely different pictures. On one side, you've got the legend of a mysterious, cursed vortex. And on the other, you have the statistical reality, a totally normal, even relatively safe stretch of ocean whose reputation was built on powerful storytelling, not on facts.
And this is the real takeaway, isn't it? The Bermuda Triangle is this fascinating case study in the power of a good story. It shows how a compelling narrative can just take on a life of its own, becoming more real in our minds than the actual verifiable truth. And we have to be so careful not to let that happen.
So in the end, debunking the Bermuda Triangle isn't just about one patch of ocean. It's about learning to apply a critical lens to the information we see every single day. It leaves us with this one final provocative question. Knowing how easily a myth can be built, what story are you going to choose to question next?